Okay, so we are back today. So I would just like to make mention that so grateful for you guys watching my videos, recommending your friends. So keep up with the same spirit. Yeah, so invite as many people as possible so that we utilize this free education policy to the maximum. Everyone should at least learn something. Okay, so thank you for watching my videos here once more. Continue sharing, yeah, and also you can write comments, write suggestions where you would want, what you would want to see in the next video. Yeah, so like that. So for today's lesson, we're going to see how we apply these formulas, or in short, we're going to revise trigonometry. So trigonometry is one of the easiest topics. Okay, according, if you ask me, it's one of the easiest topic. You can get everything. So if you get this everything, you are on the safe side. Yeah, so you just have to make sure you understand the concepts. Okay, so there are a couple of things which you have to know. There is one, the one we call a sine rule. So a sine rule is used to calculate, for example, a sine rule. So one written like this. So sine, for example, oh, sorry about this. Let me just erase and write again. Okay. So for a sine rule, you have a is a distance. Then you divide it by the angle at this, the angle at which the angle coinciding to this same distance. So you can equate it to, if you know B, also the angle at that same position B. So don't worry about what is C, what is B. It's very easy. And then divided by C. So you use this formula, particularly when you have a triangle. For example, you have a triangle. Let me say this is our triangle. Okay, so let's say there is A here, there is B here, and there is C here. So let's say this distance is 20 meters. This distance is, let's say, 30 meters. Okay. And then we know, let's say, we know the angle here to be 60 degrees. And then we don't know the angle here, we don't know the angle here. Okay. So if you know that, for example, this angle is in between distances which are not, like the distances are not given on the two opposite sides. So if you know that you have an angle and then the opposite distances, this distance and this distance, if one is missing, you know that you're going to use what? Sine rule. But if you have been given a triangle, there is an angle here and there is a distance here and a distance here, you know that you are supposed to use a cosine rule, which is this one here. That is a cosine rule. So a cosine rule, just for, so cosine rule used for calculating, so we can say calculating. It can be angle, or it can be an angle or distance. Calculating an angle, okay, an angle or distance. if two or distances, or we can say, okay, keep it simple, two distances are given, separated by the angle. So these distances are separated by the angle. Okay, so a best example is this one here. So you have an angle here, and then when you look at this angle, you see the opposite sides, this and this. So if the two sides are given, don't even waste your time. You know that you're using what? Cosine rule. Directly. So cosine rule works only when you have two different sizes. Two sides given. So if this distance was here, for example, 12 was here, 12.5, we can't use cosine rule. And the angle is here. Meaning this distance is missing. We can't use cosine rule. We'll come to sine rule. Okay, so I'll find a question which involves sine rule and see and show you guys how to use it. Yeah, but just that's the basic, the idea here. So if you have an angle and two distances given, so this angle, it doesn't matter. It can be here, they can give you here, and they give you distance here and here. You use sine rule. The angle can be here, and they give you distance for this and this. You use what? Cosine rule, which is here. So cosine rule only works when you have been given an angle separating two distances which have been provided. So cosine rule is used when you have an angle separating two distances. Yeah, so you have two distances or two sides which have been given. Okay, so having said that, we can erase this. Okay, so it's very easy. So from this triangle we've been given, okay, from this triangle we've been given, so this distance is PR or R. You can write it whatever you want. PR or RP is the same. This one will be QR. And this distance we can say, okay, let's say this one is PQ. Okay, so how do we know this is our A, this is our B, this is our C in this case? So I like writing the cosine rule, which is A squared, this A squared equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of A. Okay. So how do you identify which one is A, which one is B, which one is C, which one is cos A? Okay, so the easy way we can look at this is, so A is the distance which you want to find. So from our question, which one are we supposed to find? PQ. So this is our A, the distance which you want to find. Then B and C, these are the distances which are separated by the angle. So B, you can choose. B can be this one or this one. It doesn't matter. So B and C are the two distances which have been given and are separated by the angle. So these are B and C. And then this cos A is an angle which is directly opposite to the distance you want to find. So we say A is the distance which we are finding, which is here. We are saying A is here. So if you look at this angle, it's pointing this side. It's pointing to where A is. If you look at it from here, if you look from R, the angle is directly opposite to the distance which you are finding here. So meaning the value of A is what? This. So that's how you identify B and C, opposite distances which have been provided. Then this angle A is the angle separating B and C. Then A is a distance which you have to find. Okay, so let's now apply our formula. So we can just write here. Okay, we can just write here Q R is equals to, let's say 12.5, okay, centimeters. PR is equals to 8.9 centimeters. So let's say, okay, anyway, you can put this as B if you want, this as C. It doesn't matter. The answer is the same, whether you take this as B, and this as C, it doesn't matter. So now, let's write this formula using the letters which have been provided in this question. So we have said A is a distance which you are calculating. What is the distance are you calculating? PQ. Okay. So I'll write it here. Okay, so let me just erase a bit. Okay. Okay. Let me just erase. Okay, so now what I'll do is let me just get this diagram and paste it somewhere cleaner here. Okay, so here. Okay, so let me just put it here nicely down. Oh, paste it twice. Let me see. Okay, paste it here. Okay, so we have this diagram here. Okay, so just move this one. Okay, so we have this diagram. So I'll say, if you follow what I was doing, I said A squared equals to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos A. Okay, so A is a distance which you are finding, which is BQ. So squared equals to, we just want to be systematic. We can't be using A and B, you know, we are grade 12s, so we are not grade 10s. We can't be using A, the ones which have been provided in the formula. Okay, so come on, guys. Okay, so this is our A. Then B, you can choose any RQ or RP or PRN. So we can say, okay, this B will say PR is our B plus, meaning C will be what? QR squared minus 2. So we have PR and let me get some space here. Okay. They're going to be sufficient to write. Okay. Then QR cos. So this cos, if you know angles, the angle is between is PRQ is at R. So the angle we just say cos R. We rewrite it in a fashion that it pleases the marker. You understand? So this is more finer than than writing A, B, what, no. So let me just rewrite this. Here there is Q, okay, here there is Q, R. Okay, so we can substitute our numbers. So we have PQ squared equals to, so PR, which is 8.9 squared, plus we have 12.5 squared minus 2. So I like putting these in the brackets. So I will show you why I put everything here in the brackets. So multiplied by, so PR is 8.9 multiplied by 12.5 divided by cos, what was the angle, 130 point, oops. Oh, okay, so I have some space here. Okay, so 120.6 degrees. Okay, so follow my steps nicely, don't skip anything. So you square now, 8.9 squared, so 8.9 squared, that's 79.21. Mind you, don't round off anything. So 12.5 squared equals to 156.25 minus, so we multiply this by, okay, so we say 2 multiplied by